Uh, our next participant is Arkesh Ramesh Kumar, who is a senior at Lexington High School, whose passion for science was ignited by his mother's involvement in the medical field. Arkesh finds happiness with his friends, as he is a co-founder of the nonprofit organization Assets for Aspirers. Arkesh is dedicated to making a difference in the lives of others. Beyond his academic pursuits, Arkesh is a talented photographer, owning Arc Visuals and serving as the official photographer for Lexington High School basketball team. Arkesh's love for teaching extends to all children, earning him the affection of many young minds. Arkesh will be presenting on a unique topic, breaking free from the comparison trap. Please welcome him on stage.
Hello, can everyone hear me well? Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Arkesh Kumar, and I'm really honored and thankful today to be talking about the comparison trap. The comparison trap is a super interesting thing that happens in all of our lives. I'm sure you can all imagine, especially being in Indian families, and Amman, but this one's for you, that we are always like, why can't you do this like him? Why can't you be like her? And even if we don't say like straight up, internally in our heads, we can be thinking, oh, like we're always below someone else or inferior. That's what the comparison trap is about. But I'm not trying to say that comparison is like a bad thing. It's our perception of it that I seek to change. We should be inspired from people rather than straight up getting compared. Today, I wish to dive deeper into the comparison trap and see how we can approach it to create a better future for everyone. So, understanding the comparison trap, one time when I was scrolling through Instagram, I saw an NBA player celebrating their 50th birthday party. And I was like, dang, this is like crazy. And suddenly like a super sad feeling overtook me. And I got sad about how I couldn't do something like that. But then I was like, hold on. Like, let's take a step back. And this is like a 35-year-old NBA player that makes $500,000 every year. And I'm a 17-year-old boy who doesn't know what I'm doing with my life yet. So that's what the comparison trap does. We just unrealistically compare ourselves for no reason. So first, it sets unrealistic standards because of the society, media, our family, our friends. Like we have a tendency to create something of what it not actually is. And then also culturally speaking, different cultures have different like ideas of comparison. Like in Asia, we have like an easier pressure to be, in Asia there's like a pressure to conform and be compared easier. And according to a study in UC Berkeley, individuals who frequently compare themselves to others are more likely to experience symptoms of depression and anxiety. And there are three types of comparison. That's the social comparison, what all the parents are really good at, comparing you to other people's kids. And then we have the counterfactual comparison, which are comparing to possible scenarios, like imaginations, like what could have been or what I should have done. And temporal comparison is comparing us to our future and comparing to the past. And this is like the guideline that most people follow for the comparison trap. It's just the tendency to evaluate our own accomplishments, our abilities and traits in relation to others, and often leading to feelings of inadequacy or inferiority. So the dangers of the comparison trap. It first of all reduces self-confidence like completely, especially when you compare your shortcomings to others. It completely ruins it. Personally, for me, when the college admission cycle started as like a junior, that when I was just seeing like everyone else's like high GPAs or like high SAT scores, all their extracurriculars, I like always like felt lower about myself, and I never learned to value what I have or what I have. That's what it just does. And moreover, it like strains our relationships. It can like, if we constantly compare, not with just with our like friends and families, but with anyone, like our friend can come and tell us that, oh, I got like a new job. Like in the back, you might be happy for them, but in the back of your mind, you're gonna be like, oh my God, why couldn't I have got that job? And that's what a comparison does to us. And then comparison also creates missed opportunities. When we're too focused on what others are doing or achieving, we overlook our own unique potential and what we can seek to do. It also creates a thing called the imposter syndrome, and that's the idea that it's a psychological phenomenon where individuals doubt their accomplishments and fear for being exposed for frauds despite evidence of their accomplishments. The root causes for the trap are social conditioning. From a young age, we're bombarded from our family saying things, we get multiple stimuli from media, and we're stuck with so many things, and from a young age we have like a false reality of what it should be. And then we're conditioned to that, and we seek to achieve that reality as we grow older. And then that's what messes it up. A lack of self-awareness and self-confidence can also make us susceptible to the comparison trap. If we're not sure or like aware of our own abilities, then we can look to others for validation rather than ourselves. Validation should be innate. We should learn from others, but seeking validation from others is not, it just ruins your mind. And the idea of perfectionism, as a perfectionist, you seek to have everything that you want. You want to have all the best features of everyone. But no human is perfect. That's like the aspect of being human. We have to embrace our imperfections and live with it. And then being in a cycle of comparison, and as a perfectionist, we're always looking at other people for what they have versus what we don't have, and then that prevents us from being happy, quite honestly. So then, now it's important to embrace our individuality and cultivate self-compassion. We have to understand that diversity enriches our world. Just as no two snowflakes are alike, each of us bring unique talents, unique ideas, everything different to the table. Embracing our individuality fosters creativity, innovation, and inclusivity. We have to understand our humanness. There's the beauty in perfection, that we have more areas to grow from. There's no shortcomings to be hidden, but it's all only up from here. We have to treat ourselves with the same kindness that we would treat our like dearest friends that might be going through a tough time. We have to tell ourselves the same nice words of encouragement that you can do this, that you can do this. And we have to validate our own feelings and experiences no matter what, because quite honestly, without that, there's no room to grow. So as I was saying, for comparison, instead of comparison, we can simply just find the change from comparison to inspiration. We can find inspiration to others. If your family members if someone you know is doing something well, you can be like, okay, I strive to get like that, rather than the idea like, oh my God, why am I doing that? We can change that mindset. That shift in mindset has to occur. And that's what specifically for me too, like as I've grown, I used to struggle with this a lot as well. I used to compare myself all the time, even like sometimes with my parents, but sometimes not, but I would compare myself. And then now I like try to just have a growth mindset. If I see something from someone else or anyone, I seek to become better. I can become a better person. I want to grow from it. And then not in the aspects of people that we know or family members or anything, we can learn from our role models. If we see like, I don't know, like LeBron or any NBA player or anything like that, we can see their qualities that we like in them and grow from that and become better persons. And obviously this is not possible with having a supportive and a great network of people that uplift and encourage you to become better as well. One of the worst things that we can do is like, I'm sure you can understand that like social media plays such a huge role in our life that like most people can't go that long without their phones. And it just has like a warped view of what's actually happening. You're only seeing like the idealized version of reality. You don't know what's going behind the scenes. All you see is like the best aspects on social media. And feeding that into our brain consistently is just not gonna cut it. It's gonna just consistently hurt us. So it's really important to take digital detoxes every now and then. I'm sure that we can imagine when we're taking a break from our phones and taking a break, we just feel better about ourselves. And taking these breaks can help us with our mental health and can disconnect, and we will stop comparing ourselves as well. And one of the most important things from this idea is that we can cognitively rewire our brains into thinking differently. We can make the negative thoughts into more positive thoughts and restructure our ideas, the thoughts that come under our head, into a more positive manner to make our better and make our growth better. And I can't stress this enough, but the idea of positive affirmations and manifestation is one of the key things anyone can do. The difference of saying when you wake up in the morning and saying, I will have a good morning, versus just going on with your life it's just crazy. Affirmations and manifest it continually will help us and encourage us to become better. So for the future, it's important to celebrate each win that we have. Like all the progress that we have, we must celebrate every single win, no matter how small the win is. Because that's what makes us better. Every single time we get a win, we'll feel like becoming better and doing the next thing. We can't compare our behind the scenes to someone's highlight reel that we see in the outside, because quite honestly, we don't know what anyone else is going through. And we have to just have that sort of mindset with that. We can't compare ourselves with anyone today. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday and compete to become a better person. The 2 C's you can keep with you. Let's recognize our worth, celebrate our progress, and cherish our unique journeys. Where everyone's in different points in their lives, and we have to all embrace that we're going in different paths, and if we have this growth mindset, we will all find success at some point. The existence of someone else's success does not diminish yours. I've heard so many quotes of people saying comparison is a thief of joy, but honestly, comparison is a spark of inspiration, and let this be etched in everyone's minds today. Thank you so much for your time. Have a nice day.
Next up is Sharwin Balagurumurthy. He's 9 years old and currently in 3rd grade. He enjoys learning about space. His hobbies include piano, tennis, and basketball. Please give him a warm welcome.
Hi, my name is Sharwin, and I made a presentation on the solar system. The reason I chose the solar system is because I like space, and space is very interesting to me. First up, we have the sun. The sun is a giant glowing ball of gas that sits on the center of our solar system. It's a star, and it's heat and light making life possible on Earth. It's really big, much bigger than our planet, and incredibly hot. The sun's energy comes from a nuclear reaction happening deep inside it. We've been studying the sun for a long time, and we learned a lot about it, using special tools like telescopes and spacecraft. Mercury. Mercury, which is about 1,516 miles in diameter, has both smooth areas and tall cliffs, some reaching up to a mile high. These cliffs formed as Mercury's interior. NASA's Marine 10 was the first spacecraft to visit Mercury, capturing images about 45% of its surface. Later, NASA's Messenger spacecraft flew by Mercury 3 times and spent 4 years orbiting the planet before its mission ended with a crash landing on its surface. Venus. Venus is a rocky planet like Earth, but it's much hotter on its surface. This extreme heat might influence what we see happening on the planet's surface due to its interior process. Venus. Venus has a thick atmosphere that traps heat in what's called a runaway greenhouse effect, making it the hottest planet in our solar system. Surface temperatures that are so high they can melt lead. Beneath the thick, enduring clouds, you'll find volcanoes and mountains that look wrapped and twisted. Imagine seeing a 3D model of Venus's surface showing these extreme features. Earth has a solid and lively surface with mountains, valleys, canyons, and plains. The unique about Earth is mostly covered in water, about 70% of its surface. Our atmosphere is made up mostly of nitrogen with plenty of oxygen for us to breathe. This is another key feature. 5 things about Earth making it just right for us to live: the atmosphere, the oceans, temperature, gravity, and air pressure. Our atmosphere has nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water vapor, and a bit of other gases. What makes Earth livable? Because Earth is a perfect distance from the sun and has a magnetic field, shields from harmful radiations, keeps us cozy with its in solution atmosphere has all the right stuff like water and carbon to life to thrive. But we have to take care of our planet because things like pollution, with too many people throwing trash, climate, and global warming can harm it. That's why people, groups, and government are working to protect the environment so we can keep a good balance. Mars. Mars has a thin atmosphere mostly made out of carbon dioxide, CO2, with argon, Ar, nitrogen, N2, and a bit of oxygen and water. It has two moons called Phobos and Neamus. Has no rings. So far, there is no evidence of past or present life on Mars. However, there are water signs that in ancient times Mars had been liquid water on its surface, making it potentially habitat for tiny organisms doesn't mean life actually existed there. NASA's Perseverance lander landed in February 2021 has been exploring Mars. It's found about the planet's volcanoes, climate, surface, inside chances for life, and the role of water, especially in Juno's crater. Jupiter. Great Red Spot is a massive spinning storm in Jupiter's atmosphere. A supersized hurricane compared to Earth when it's twice the size of the entire Earth. Winds inside the storm help whip around 270 miles per hour. Jupiter's four biggest moons are called Galilean Moon, Lostris Moon, Europa Moon, and Ganymed Moon. They are named because Italian shows incredibly worlds in the first, right? NASA's Juno spacecraft has discovered something fantastic. Huge storms at both of the Jupiter's poles are as big as a storm on Earth. While Juno can't directly see Jupiter's surface, it's given scientists new clues that suggesting the core is bigger and fluffier than they thought before. Saturn. Saturn is in approximately 75% hydrogen, and 25% helium. Of other with other substances like gases like methane and water ice. Saturn's atmosphere, although similar to Jupiter, is much less interesting to look from a distance. Titan also has a rich stew organic molecules at the atmosphere that are deposit its surface, and its methane ethane surface seas. Inclusion conveniently has plumbs jetting samples into the ocean. Cassini's decade-long mission made it possible to watch Saturn dynamic ring system. The Saturn's propel-like formations within the possible of a new moon and observed that made one of the most creative kinetic rings in our solar system, Saturn's F ring. Uranus has an atmosphere mostly made up of hydrogen and helium, with a bit of and a small trace of water and ammonia. Its methane gives Uranus a distant blue color, which is really unique about Uranus. It's the only planet that spins on its side. The equator mostly appears to tilt about 97.77 degrees. Likely happened due to a big crash. Due to a big crash with methane like another Earth-sized object a long time ago. Because of its odd tilt, 28 known moons include 5 big ones: Miranda, Ariel, Umbriel, and Titania, which were named after the characters from Shakespeare's plays, plus a couple of Alexander Pope's work. When the Voyage 2 swung by Uranus to find 10 new moons and 2 new rings. Voyage 2 then went to the first human-made thing to be called Zoom Neptune. There's found 5 new moons, 4 new rings, and a huge storm called the Great Dark Spot. Neptune. Neptune's atmosphere is mostly hydronic and helium with its much of a methane, while its neighbor Uranus gets its blue surface due to the methane. Neptune shines with a brighter, more interesting blue. Scientists think there's some mystery ingredients in Neptune the atmosphere that pumps it and gives it vivid color. The moon. The moon is Earth's natural satellite, which meaning it's a big rock that orbits around our planet. It's the brightest object in the night and has been around and admired by people for centuries. The moon doesn't make its own light. Instead, it reflects from the light of the sun in craters, mountains, and plains, and it has no atmosphere. So there's like no air to breathe. That moon plays a big role in its like the tides in our ocean has been the target for exploration for astronauts from different countries. In conclusion, the solar system is an incredible place filled with planets, moons, asteroids, and more, all orbiting around the sun. Understanding the solar system helps us appreciate what the wonders of space and our own place within it. Let's continue to explore and learn about our cosmic neighborhood to inspire new generations of astronomers and space explorers. And this is an example of the solar system. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharwin, for that amazing presentation. Our next participant is Prisha, who just recently completed 10th grade. She is an avid enjoyer of art and loves to sketch. Baking, cooking, and reading about various random topics are some of her other hobbies. Besides that, she takes a keen interest in biology and intends to pursue medicine and become a surgeon. Please welcome Prisha, who will be sharing her perspective on why do we binge.
Saying goes, too much of anything is as bad as too little. Now, among the various terms we use these days, binge is definitely one of them. Now, binging basically is when we indulge excessively in something. It can be drinking, watching, eating, you name it. All of these can easily be binged. Now, I'm pretty sure most of us must have binge-watched our favorite sitcoms, TV shows, or had heaps of food in one sitting, am I right? But before I get into any of this, let me first explain why we do this in the first place. Now, among the various causes we have, the science behind it is quite fascinating. I simplified this quite a bit, but let me explain anyways. When we indulge in something we thoroughly enjoy, like food or entertainment, our brain fires up and it releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. Sounds good, right? However, the more we engage in these activities constantly, our brain starts to adapt to this higher amount of dopamine, and it essentially becomes a new normal. That's why we crave more of that activity to reach that same level of satisfaction we once had before. This dopamine tolerance is why some people tend to splurge on their favorite TV shows or on food. Now, besides that, binging is simply a way to numb your negative emotions. Have you ever eaten your feelings away? Some people often binge on food as a coping mechanism. That is actually known as emotional eating. Moreover, studies show that a factor of drinking among college students is actually anxiety, stress, and even depression. Now that we understood some of the causes, it is equally important to understand the effects it has on us. Now, let's start with binge eating. Who doesn't have the temptation to indulge in their favorite foods every now and then, right? It's completely harmless, but binge eating disorder takes it up a notch. It is consuming large quantities of food without any control over it and feeling uncomfortably full. It takes a massive toll on someone's health, pushing them towards obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. But sadly, the most sad part is the people suffering from binge eating disorders feel immense guilt and shame, tarnishing their self-esteem and confidence. Now, another binge behavior, which is quite commonly spoken about, but not quite as deadly, is binge watching. Now, please raise your hand if you watch movies and TV shows to unwind from unwind from stress. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't, right? This has been a traditional way to de-stress from work, school, any kind of stress, you name it. However, binge watching makes it easy to disconnect from your surroundings, especially with the rise in streaming services these days. It is not that hard to retreat to your comfy corner and zone out for hours on end at a day. And an all-night movie marathon can leave us in a zombie-like sleepless trance, which isn't exactly the best thing ever, but oh well. Now, another quick question here. Have you ever been warped into this endless vortex of YouTube Shorts, TikToks, or Instagram Reels? Yeah, guilty as charged. Well, this actually has a name for it, and it's called doom scrolling. And yes, I am a doom scroller. And these kind of short-form videos, they provide instant gratification. It is basically like snacks for your hunger. It doesn't exactly quench your hunger, but it is satisfying to some level. Now, I can keep rambling on and on about all these effects, and I've only scratched the surface here. But the crucial thing we must know is what we must do to prevent these negative consequences. Now, have you ever felt bored and just started rummaging in your refrigerator or pantry for snacks? Well, boredom is a common binging trigger. Thus, learning to keep ourselves occupied and busy can do heaps. Pursuing hobbies, having quality time with friends and family is a great start. Another tactic, which is my personal favorite, is delayed gratification. It is basically the act of resisting temptation to earn something better and more satisfying. For example, we can finish all our chores, our homework, all the work for the day, and then sit down to unwind. You'll feel more accomplished and relaxed instead of feeling guilty that you still have so much work left to do. But besides that, serious conditions such as binge eating disorders require professional help, and it's often associated with deadly disorders such as bulimia nervosa. But all I can say is that the ones affected must first be compassionate and kind to themselves and realize that great changes require great time. Appreciate yourself every step of the way and pat yourself on the back for even making an effort. And at the end of the day, it's not about being perfect. It's just about being a tinge better than yesterday, am I right? With that, I'd like to conclude my presentation, and I'm going to take an oath to practice what I preached. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, Prisha, thank you for that wonderful speech. Coming up next is Rhea. Rhea is currently a freshman at Chelmsford High School. She is the committed member of the science team, math team, and the South Asian Student Association at her school. She likes science, business, and math. In her free time, she loves to draw and create art. She also loves to present her ideas. Today, she will be talking about equal education worldwide. Let's welcome her onto the stage.
Hi, everyone. When you hear the word education, what comes into your mind? Is it experienced educators inspiring youth, or could it be state-of-the-art technology in every single classroom? Are all of you guys happy with the current education system right now? Are you guys content with the school that your kids are going to? Please raise your hand. So no one's happy with the school that their kids are going to. Okay. Well, it seems almost like most people think that education over here is almost perfect. But that isn't the same for every country worldwide. So why is it that 90 to 93% of American students graduate high school or higher, while in Africa, it's only 20 to 30%? Well, many might know the most common problems, like the limited access to education, shortage of qualified teachers, and even socioeconomic status and culture. But no one really knows how far behind the developing world genuinely is. No one really wants to go deep into that to see it. Although this was a very popular topic previously, like in previous years, it has died down. But just because it isn't popular doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about it. So it turns out that the developing world is actually 100 years behind the already developed nations. And what is causing such a drastic change? Well, we can blame that on the digital divide and an outdated curriculum. So basically, simply put, most third world countries can't really accommodate to the students and their needs. They don't have new textbooks like we do. They don't have technology. They don't have relevant current information. They're learning stuff from many years behind, which may not help them in the world today. With times that are changing, so does jobs. And as we teach kids, we're actually like getting them ready to join the workforce. So shouldn't that information be relevant? The ITU states that over half the population in the entire world doesn't have internet access at all, which shows how wide this problem actually is. So over here, we see a graph. 5 generations is the time that it will take for an average scoring learner in a developing nation to catch up to, for an average scoring student in the developing nation to catch up to those in already developed nations. And this shows that children in less developed world regions spend a lot less time in schools and learn less per school year. Education is not a privilege. It should be the birthright of every child. But unfortunately, this isn't true in a lot of places. How exactly does education impact a person's life? And how does it impact an entire country? So although education doesn't improve fast, urbanization and development does. And it improves relatively quickly. So where there is urbanization and development comes automation extremely fast. Even in the US, we notice many jobs that require human labor going fast because of machinery. And in developing nations where labor or human labor takes up such a big part, this could be very dangerous. And third world countries aren't teaching their kids how to fit into the newer developing workforce. Instead, they're generations behind on this. And it advises these countries to embrace the digital revolution through the changing of educational policies. But the problem with this is that those developing nations don't have enough money to accommodate the technology needed for this. So this lack of education actually scars many. Most people in these areas are either pushed into poverty or pushed into very vulnerable and low-pay work that requires a lot of human labor because they can't get jobs that are like more digitalized. So how does this impact an entire country? As low education leads into low skill and low wage workforces, there's almost no space for advancement in these careers. And when a huge chunk of a population is stuck in this kind of workforce, it creates a cycle of poverty and overall economic stagnation. Higher paying sectors of the economy are severely lacking, which is why such an educated workforce is so important for a strong economy. So the economic stagnation due to an uneducated workforce leaves the world looking like this. Red being the underdeveloped economies. And the problem with this is that underdeveloped economies usually go with impacted education systems because there's not enough money in the government that could go to learning. And this creates a cycle. Cycle of low economy correlating with not enough funds for the education system to develop. So how do we break this cycle? There are 4 steps to break this cycle. Number 1, technology in schools. Implementing new technology that is efficient and low cost so that everyone has an access to relevant information. Number 2, reforming cultural standards. So that means breaking stereotypes and increasing the amount of people that go into schools, not depending on their background. Number 3, expanding access to teacher training. So that's enhancing programs and supporting teachers first, because where a classroom is, a teacher needs to be. And international and government funding, which is where we can come in and help internationally. So number 1, tech in schools. So it is very important to implement cheap and efficient and accessible software for students in developing countries so that they can, again, get relevant access to information. So an example of this is MindSpark in India, which actually achieved an increase in math performance of 38% in 5 months. And it was very low, as it was only $2 per year when scaled up to 1,000 schools. Another concept is Behind 1 Billion, which is a program for global learning, and it's very implemented across Malawi. Evidence has shown that the program has the potential to close the gender gap in studies, giving girls an equal chance in education, which brings me to my next point, reforming cultural standards. So ensuring equal education for women isn't only a human right, but it also serves as a catalyst for social and economic development. Currently, 130 million girls are denied education, and this may have a much bigger impact than you may think. So investing in women's education could increase a country's entire GDP. For every dollar invested into a girl's rights in education, developing nations could see a return of $2.8 billion, according to a new report. And this is a figure that shows the potential contribution to net GDP as a result of reaching 100% secondary completion rate for girls by 2030 in each country. Therefore, promoting women's equal education isn't just a moral imperative. It's a strategic investment, not only into a better economy, but into a better country in general. Next, we must expand access to teacher training. Effective education systems are essentially the teachers who make it or break it. Countries must invest into teacher resources, and international teachers should go and volunteer in places like this. Teachers are and will always be the backbone of our education system. It's why they constitute the largest single expenditure in education budgets around the world, but that doesn't necessarily apply to third world countries. This is because the number of teachers isn't enough to accommodate students because it's seen as a low profession because they don't get enough pay. So by simply, and then next is international and government funding and donating. And this is where we can step in. By these few things, we can improve education for everyone. 1, raising awareness. 2, supporting local initiatives, whether you're donating, whether you're volunteering. 3, advocate for policy change. Donate, and the best thing that you could do is just stay informed. So together, we have the power to make a difference in the lives of countless individuals in the world by supporting education initiatives. Whether it's donating, volunteering, or just advocating, each of us has an important role to play in ensuring that every child, regardless of background, has the right to quality education. So let's all join forces and create a brighter future for all of us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for that inspiring speech. And thanks to all the participants for all their hard work and amazing speeches today. Let's give them another round of applause. Could I please have Shiva Uncle and Shiva Auntie come to the stage? And can I please also have Dr. Sambada Maya and Dr. Hakim on the stage? Could I also please request the guest speakers to present medals to all the youth volunteers? The youth participants. Sorry. First is Shakti Balakrishnan. Next, could I get Kritesh Ramesh Kumar? Next is Ayan Satish. Supreet Satish. Siddharth Vikram. Yuvan Balagurumurthy. Sharvin Balagurumurthy. Prisha Ganeshan. Rhea Kannan. Arkesh Ramesh Kumar. And Kritika Amaranth. Could we please get the EC board and all youth participants together for a picture?
Actually, as I mentioned in the welcome speech, this is the whole program is run by the youth. Just can you give a round of applause for all the youth, please? And also one more thing is the whole program, the whole youth is led by Ramya Belmurugan, and she pretty much trained all the youth and to be successful like that. Yeah, thank you so much.
Honorable guests, dear friends and organizers, what a fabulous morning it's been today. Amazing presentations on a wide variety of topics, educative, informative, and topics that make us think more. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for your valuable time and efforts. Our heartfelt gratitude is to our guest speakers of the day, Dr. Abdul, co-founder, co-president, and COO at Neutralist Inc., and Dr. Sundaresan Sambandam Ayya, a distinguished oncologist from Bristol, Rhode Island, for taking time out of your very busy schedules and educating us on this Saturday morning. Thank you to all 10 fabulous TMMTED speakers. Your research efforts and presentations are phenomenal. Thank you for sharing your ideas and inspiring us to do even more next time. Thank you to your parents as well for their time. Thank you to all of our sponsors and vendors. Without them, no event is possible. Thank you to TMM Board and Executive Committee for giving TMM Youth the opportunity to lead, organize, and successfully execute TMMTED 2024. Especially Ramya Auntie. Your guidance and encouragement is invaluable to us. Thank you to Jonathan for the audio and light setup, Satish Uncle for coordinating the slide decks, Narayan Sir for videography, and Ramesh Kumar Uncle for photography. Lastly, thank you to all my fellow youth volunteers at TMM. It's been a phenomenal experience working together to put this show. On behalf of TMM youth members, I would like to wish our friends who are preparing for the AP exams all the very best. Once again, thank you for all making TMMTED 2024 a memorable event, and looking forward to many more such events in the future. Please enjoy the activities and do stay for Chitiri Tiruvara celebrations this afternoon. Thank you, Nandri Vanakkam.